Walk with me, I'll take you to the portal or whatever.
We're back, baby. It's your boy, man. We have returned. We're back, man. How was y'all week without me? Did you cry? I know you missed me, man. I know it hurt. Y'all probably fell on y'all knees in the middle of a Walmart, man. It was probably the worst experience of y'all life not having me for this 1 week. But listen, let me tell you something, all right? I hope y'all Christmas was great, all right? I hope that the time that y'all spent with y'all family was exceptional. I hope you got all the gifts you wanted. But now, it's 2024, baby. All right, the Browns, they got their W there in the playoffs now. The Eagles, they suck ass. And we're going to get our ass beat in the playoffs. But, you know, whatever. I don't care. All right. The only old thing I want to bring up right now is this top 10 video that we got to do. And we got to talk about the top 10 albums that dropped in 2023. Now, this past year was pretty iffy for me personally because there wasn't too much that really stood out to me. I had to really search in a deep cut to really find the things that I liked. But for what I did find, I did enjoy. I think the only scene that kind of disappointed me was the hip hop scene, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, let's get into it, starting off with number 10. So number 10 is from a certain singer that I have been following for like the past 2 years now. Her name is Marina Harop, and she dropped an album called Nekuja. Now, if you don't know Marina Harop, I'll say this, right? Take Bjork, right? But instead of like Bjork actually saying words, instead it's just pure gibberish, right? The main thing about Marina's music is the fact that a lot of her like lyricism, it's all nonsensical. She's not actually saying words. She's basing herself purely just off of vocals and ambience and just vibes, dog. She's just in there just fucking around, man. Which I think is pretty cool because especially on this latest project, you get a good sense of those vocals here. She seems that she's tapped more into it. It seems a lot more eccentric even than her last project, Priia, which I think this is a pretty solid step above. More experimental elements to it, you know, it's more heavy on electronic works in comparison to her previous project, which is more layered with a few live instruments. Instead, this more just taps into like its synths, it's more heavy hitting, it's more like in your face with like the bee and the brr, you know what I mean? In a sense, it's like it's trying to intimidate you, and I think that's what I kind of like about it, because in a sense it kind of does intimidate me to a certain extent. You know, in a way it's forcing me to listen, and that's what I really like about this project. If I even had to rank this, I would give this like a solid 9. I thought this was excellent. I thought that she did a fire job, a very well done follow-up to an already stellar run through with her previous project Priia, and I feel like she can only get better. She can only get bigger, and I'm hoping that whatever she has next can be even a step higher than whatever this was. Number 9 is a collaborative project from the singer Dyer and Stargaze, the electronic artist, on their collaborative project Dyer x Stargaze. And I'm not gonna lie, but the first time I listened to this project, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I might fall asleep to this, I ain't gonna lie. But like, kind of looking back at it now, this album, it's like actually really nice to listen to. And some of the tracks here, they're very pleasant. The vocals on this are absolutely amazing, in my opinion. I think that she is a very good singer, especially with songs like Car Wash and Reductions. I feel like she definitely stands out a lot in terms of her vocals. I feel like one of my more favorite instrumentals on this project was on the song Reductions. In a sense, it kind of felt like I was listening to like a fairy tale, which a lot of this project kind of gives off that vibe. But when I listen to this song, it's like the moment it kind of comes in, it feels like it's kind of cradling you, like it's reading you a storybook. Like, I don't know how to properly describe it, but I really do like this song, and a lot of the other instrumentals off this project are also very well done. Shout out to Dyer, shout out to Stargaze. I think y'all did an excellent job with that. Then following up at number 7, we have the Sri Lankan singer Priia Rang. Now, I thought this shit was fire. You know, I thought this shit was amazing. It's fun, it's eccentric. I love the mixture of like R&B and dance that's layered upon this. She's more honed into, you know, more of her own culture and everything like that. You know, with songs like Mani Osai, which I thought was pretty cool. And then it's like, you know, you got my favorite track, Uyire, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I have the reading level of a 4th grader. That is by far, in my opinion, the best song on this album. I thought that it hit a very very high note for me. I loved when the beat kind of dropped in that second half. Definitely switched up the tone, and it's one of those songs I would love to see performed live. I think Priya has an amazing singing voice. But yeah, I would recommend everybody check out Santo Sam by Priya Rang. I thought this shit was amazing. I thought this shit was fire.
Harlem Astro Black whenever and I come bless the cat.
Running through the city with holes in my hands, trying to hold it down, trying to hold it down.
But then at number 6 is a collaborative project from Rainey Miller and Space Africa on a more industrial electronic project with, you know, a lot of experimental work in it. Some of the features on here were really dope. You know, there's that song Sweet, which I would say is the best off the project with Res Nero and Ice Boy. I thought that shit was so fire, man. I loved when the beat dropped and then you kind of just had dude just flowing off for like a whole minute and a half in a verse. I mean, listening to that album kind of made me glad to be able to be so musically eclectic, because, you know, if I wasn't, I wouldn't be able to find, you know, these little deep cuts. And I mean, when it comes to Space Africa, this isn't my first rodeo listening to their music. I remember hearing them on a Moo Tape project once. Yeah, I thought this project was really cool. I thought it was really fun. It was like the equivalent of like spray painting graffiti on a train. You know, that's how it felt to me when I was listening to this project. It was just really dope. A lot of energy. You know, it brought back an old feeling that I had in music that I kind of missed out on as I started reviewing music, of kind of taking out the overly critical side of things and just enjoying the sound for what it is. You know what I mean? And that's what I really like about this project. So shout out to Rainey Miller. Shout out to Space Africa. Y'all go check out A Grizel Wedding. Boom. But number 5 is the latest King Cruel project, Space Heavy. At first, when I first listened to this project when it came out, I didn't really pay too much mind. It was kind of like the Aaron Dyer project for me. You know, I didn't really think too much of it. But spinning back on it now, I like this a lot. I personally think this was his best work to date. I even think this is better than The Ooze. I think this is better than Man Alive. And this just allows me to feel a whole new appreciation for King Cruel that I didn't really feel for. I love his vocals, man, because in a sense his vocals, they're kind of like an instrument on their own. You know what I mean? It's like the equivalent of like listening to like a bass guitar talk. You know what I mean? Whenever you listen to King Cruel speak, with some of these songs on here, he brings that certain level of just energy in his more mellow, monotone vocals that kind of allows you to kind of just like ascend in a certain sense. Not exactly like woo, but more like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe that sounds fucking stupid when I say it out loud, but it's like basically what I'm trying to say is that I really do like this project. I thought it was very nice to listen to from beginning to end now. I mean, some of the tracks on here, such as like Hamburgophobia, I thought were really fun to listen to. It was a lot more fast paced. I loved how the drums are set up. It was a lot more fast paced and it felt a lot more like something you kind of just like you bash your head to in a car, you know what I mean? You know, but then you got songs such as like Space Heavy or Flimsier that are a lot more mellow. They're a lot more slowed down, and you can kind of just really just sit there and just allow this song to kind of just absorb you into like this different plane and this different kind of headspace, you know what I mean? Or at least that's what it does for me. Alright, so I just realized I was doing like a major miscount. So this is actually number 5 and not the King Cruel project. Now I feel like super fucking stupid, but apologies, let's move on. Okay, so actually at number 5 is a collaborative project from the Gaslamp Killer and the Heliocentrics with their project Legna. I thought it was really fun. Some of the songs in here, you know what I mean, like She's Coming or Witch's Whisper, sound like something you could hear like a lot of these more like conscious rappers kind of hop on. Like I could totally hear somebody like Jid or Kendrick hopping on some of these tracks. I thought it was very good for when I work my day job and I just need something to really kind of keep me distracted from the fact that I actually have to deal with people during the day. I loved how the bass guitar was definitely like a major element in a lot of these songs as well. I feel like there's not too much more I can actually say about this project that, you know, wouldn't already be said initially. I think that they did a great job. This is something that definitely I would love to hear live, and I feel like if you haven't checked it out already, then I mean, once again, what are you doing? But then at number 4, right, is from the band The Murder Capital with their album GG's Recovery. Now, I did have a slight gripe with this project because I mainly initially only liked the second half, and I mean I still kind of do. I mainly just only like the second half, but for me it's like those highs on this album are so high they're kind of hard to ignore. There are some really good tracks on this album, you know what I mean? Like We Had to Disappear, man. Oh my gosh, dude. Like, if you know this song, you know exactly what part I'm talking about on that song. When he hits that high note, once like all the instruments kind of clear out, and it's just like oh my gosh, bro. This album, I feel like when listening to it, and now this might sound like a crazy reach to some of y'all, but like just hear me out, right? Hear me out. This album in a sense was kind of like listening to like a new age Radiohead in a sense. You know, I said before, I don't want to, like, I know that sounds like a crazy reach. I know all the Radiohead fans are like hopping in the comments to like call me slurs or something, but like hear me out, all right? Like when I listen to some of these songs, it kind of reminds me of stuff like Weird Fishes. You know, it feels like a lot of emotion and just a lot of dramatics. His vocals seem to bring out a lot more emotion as well towards a lot of these tracks, and it feels in a sense like I'm kind of listening to like a sad story, but like a sad ass story with some like cool ass drums and a badass guitar, and I love it. I thought this was very well made. I definitely fuck with this. Y'all should check it out. And some of my favorite tracks on here, if I even had to recommend any, of course, would have to be GG's Recovery, We Had to Disappear, and 8,000 Lives, which I thought were all very beautiful songs. But of course, number 3 on my top 10 is the Earl Sweatshirt and Alchemist collab project for Dyer. Of course, Earl Sweatshirt has returned with his monotone, offbeat, abstract rapping style that, you know, which more resonates with people who like to read books in a movie theater or some stupid shit. But for me personally, I do bump with a good bit of this album. I think what really dragged me in was the instrumentals from The Alchemist. Sure, it's just sample beats, and I mean, take it as what you will. I know a lot of people think sample beats are overplayed. I am also kind of one of those people. I'm getting a little tired of sample beats, but what I will say is that there are some of them on here that I thought were pretty nice, like Mac Deuce. I thought Mac Deuce was pretty solid. The features on here was solid as well. You had Vince Staples, you had Mike's feature was on the track Century, which when I first heard Century, I didn't really know how to feel about it, but now I kind of listen to it in the same way I listen to elevator music. I don't really think too much about it, you know. I kind of just see it more like noise, but you know, it's like good noise, you know what I mean? But overall, I thought this was a pretty solid project. It wasn't nothing too spectacular or like wow in my face, but hey, I put it at number 3 for a reason, and that's because I just thought that this was just once again another certified hood classic from the beloved Earl Sweatshirt, who was only, in my opinion, has improved over time since his Odd Future days, and has kind of honed in more of his craft of being, you know, this sort of abstract, you know, the offbeat rapper, you know, the rapper that if you aren't really paying attention to, feels like he's just rapping about a bunch of nothing, you know what I mean? For number 2 is from the artist-producer Alpha Mist with his project Variables, which is a more mixture of like electro jazz, which I thought was pretty cool. I loved how a lot of the instruments play on here. You know, it's definitely playing more off of like blues, more fast jazz, a lot of more elements of more like West African music and stuff. And especially for like songs like The Gist, I thought it worked as like some very good background music. You know, in a sense, it kind of felt like I was listening to like Stage Kids or something like that with a lot of these songs. You know, I thought the structure of a lot of these tracks were great. I thought it was very fun, stuff to really relax to, clear your mind to, study to edit YouTube videos to even. And I mean, I just thought it was excellent. So yeah, congratulations to Alpha Mist, man. Keep going, keep thriving, and I'm gonna just be here bumping this album. But finally, at number 1 is the Nicole Dolenganger project Married at Mount Ary. Now, the reason why I put this at number 1, because I feel like this one was probably the most well-structured project of like everything else there was. I mean, its theme was kind of dark. It's basically like the story of like the stages of grief and trying to get over, you know, the passing of somebody that they care for so much. And now, of course, when I bring up that synopsis, you know, that's really just going off of the dome for me, and I feel like that says a lot because I usually just don't remember the synopsis for an album that literally dropped in the beginning of 2023. Like, it was literally the first album I reviewed of 2023. Like, you can go look on my channel right now. When I did review it, I remember I gave it a 7 out of 10, but kind of doubling back on it now, yeah, I'd give this like a solid 9 even. Nicole's vocals, they're a lot more stretched out, echoey. It's playing more off of the whole ambient thing. It's more like ambient folk in a sense, you know what I mean? It's not even something you could actually sit down and relax to, because it's just like, in a sense, it's something more like you'd kind of sit down and allow yourself to be more emotional, you know? It's like the folk genre version of like Marvin's Room by Drake, you know what I mean? Definitely hits a bit hard in certain pieces, you know, like Gold Satin Dreamer. It's like one really sad story that you can't really look away from, but yeah, that's my number 1, man. I would highly recommend everybody check out Married in Mount Ary. But yeah, that's the rundown for my top 10 albums of 2023. If you liked any of them, let me know down in the comments. You know what I mean? This is my Christmas present to you. I'm giving you the sauce for you to check out yourself and give me your thoughts. So please, let me know. Give me your top 10. What was your top? What was it? Utopia or something? I don't know. With this new year starting, I'll be listening to more music. You know, apparently Playboi Carti is supposed to be dropping something soon. I am really hoping he drops it soon. I mean, Carti, what the fuck are you doing? But aside from that, I'll keep doing more super hot fire, talking about more random music discussions and topics, and y'all just keep sitting here and watching and loving and gargling my nutsack. I'll see y'all next Monday. Whatever, man. I don't know. See ya. Peace. Well, looks like the video's over, so I just want to say Happy New Year's, good luck on your resolutions, and don't go to sleep tonight. But if you liked the video, feel free to subscribe as well. Follow my IG on Twitter, and follow Chocolate on Instagram for more illustrations. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time when I plot my world domination. Peace.
给你机会你不中用啊！啊，给你机会你不中用啊！